Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Great to be here with you. I hope you are having a great weekend and a great start to October. How are you all doing today? DC, it is nice to have you here. How are you doing? Hope everyone is doing well. I hope you are doing well as well. I am doing pretty good myself. I have my tea here because it is, it's getting to be autumn. It's getting to be cooler. It's getting to be colder. So, because it's getting to be colder, we're going to need to start using the tea again. Keep us warm. I was literally so cold today. It was just so cold. And it wasn't even all that cold out. I was just cold. I really was. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. It really is. Especially since it's only October. It hasn't really picked up in the coldness yet. But here we are in October. Getting colder, getting to be the spooky month. It is the spooky month after all. Things are starting to be quite spooky out in the world. They really are. Anyway, I hope you're all doing fantastic and are ready to embark on our topic for today with our good friends, the Roosters. That's right. So they will be here to discuss our topic for today, which is about, as we have been doing since last stream, I'll be doing the two topics now for the Sunday live broadcast, which are going to be about finding your true potential, which was the last video that was posted 2 weeks ago, and then the topic from Friday, which was about kids transitioning, a very controversial topic that I think is very important to bring to light and to discuss and to really talk about, because I think that's something that is such a major problem. It really is. Major problem, a lot of divide regarding it, a lot of things regarding kids transitioning. But yeah, we will get into that in just a moment, but I want to hear from you. How are you all doing today? Did everyone have a nice weekend? It was pretty nice for me. It was relatively, it wasn't like hot, but it was relatively warm, I suppose. So it was okay when it comes to the temperature. Got out a little bit, so that's good. That is certainly good. This past week was also very, very busy for me. So yeah, we have that as well. Now, let me see if I can take my sip of tea, and then we shall dive into the topic. A bit too much lemon. A bit too much lemon in that. Anyway, Roosters, you're kind of in my way. So I'm going to put you... Where should I put them so they can be visible? There you go. How cute is that, right? That's so cute. Oh, how cute. Anyway. So, I guess we'll just start diving into the topic unless any of you have anything to say regarding this matter so far. So, finding your true potential. How do you find your true potential? What is your true potential? What are you capable of in this world? Just think about that for a moment. Just think about what you're capable of, what you can do, and what maybe you're able to do. Because even though you may want to do something, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily capable of doing that. It may not be that you may not have the skills necessary for it, or it could be that based on how your personality is, based on how your interests are, you cannot necessarily prevail with the type of thing that you may want to do. So you have to find the things that best suit you, best suit your personality, and best suit your way of life. And that can be many, many different things. But I can tell you this. What do a lot of people do? Does anyone know what a lot of people end up doing when it comes to them looking for answers in their life? What do a lot of people do when they're looking for answers? What do people do when they're looking for answers? What do you do if you're looking for an answer to something? Want to say hello to Locksky and DNA. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing fantastic. That's why I am voting for Trump. Okay, there you go. You can, I always say, you know, you can, you're always allowed to do whatever you're meant to do. Whatever you should be doing, whatever feels right for you, that is what you should do. And you shouldn't let no one else criticize or judge you for that belief or opinion that you have. So, the tea is very lemony, I must say. It really is. So, most people, when they're looking for an answer, just think about that for a moment. What do you do when you're looking for an answer? There you go. You're just like, okay, just going to look on my phone for an answer. I'm going to search up online for an answer. Say, okay, let me search online for an answer to my problems. Let me ask, you know, hey Siri, hey Google, hello. How do I fix these problems within myself? How do I fix my issues? Huh. A lot of people, that's what they end up doing. But the truth of the matter is, when you're looking for life's answers, answers to your own life, why you are the way that you are, if you're feeling sad and depressed and down, most people are going to be looking online. Why do I feel depressed? Why am I sad? Hey Siri, like, can you tell me why I'm so depressed and sad today and what I can do to help that? See, I don't have stupid Siri on here, so I'm just like, I don't care. I have all that crap deactivated. I don't do that stuff. I don't do that stuff. But a lot of people are going to be searching online for an answer. A lot of people try to cope with problems in their life by finding some sort of coping mechanism that tends to be avoidance. They tend to not address their problems and their issues. So they look at external sources, external information, or external validation even, to try to get an answer to their life. But the fact is, guess what? You would never find an answer. You would never find an answer. Sure, you can look up online. You can may be able to get some sort of answer or something here and there. It may be able to help you to some degree. However, in order for you to figure out what you truly want out of life, and for you to truly be happy with who you are and what you want to get out of life, the answers to that always come from within you. They don't come from external sources. They don't come from doing a search online. Sure, that can help you down a certain pathway of maybe finding some helpful resources and information that will help you look internally for the answer, but the answer is never going to come from external sources. Like, what career path do you want to pursue? You can't be asking someone else that. That's something you have to make a choice, that you have to realize. And that's what it comes down to when it comes to you finding your true potential. How do you find your true potential? You don't search for it online. How do I find my true potential? You don't search for it. Rather, you may look up some information, such as the video I posted 2 weeks ago about, you know, the information of finding your true potential, finding what really makes you happy in life, finding what fulfills you. But you have to know that that all comes from within you. That's just the information to help you think more internally, to help you think from a perspective of, this is what I want to do with my life. This is how I want to things to be. So that's just really something to think about. Yes. See, I am listening to music and makeup movies in my head. There you go. I mean, sometimes music, movies. I don't know what is a makeup movie. A makeup movie. I don't know. But yeah, you know, it's about doing and acting. And here's the other interesting thing. Sometimes things can be very scary in life, you know? I've certainly had situations where I've held back expressing myself or holding myself back, and then afterwards I realize that was a mistake. I missed out on opportunities. I should have capitalized on the opportunities while I had them, because now when they're gone, I'm not able to actually utilize those opportunities anymore. They are gone at that point. So you have to be able to utilize the opportunities that are given to you when they're given to you, and be able to step out of your comfort zone and be able to go towards what you truly feel fulfilled with in life. You know, and sometimes it's a very hard thing to just stand your ground and just speak up about what you truly believe in as well. A lot of people, they hold back part of themselves for one reason or another. I was someone like this. I can share with you my story about this as well, because back when I first started making YouTube videos on here, I was someone who, I expressed my viewpoints initially, and I was, opening up about who I was, but then, there was feedback from other people, and then, I started to get a large following very, very quickly, very, very rapidly, and it got to a point where it was just, I didn't want to say something that was going to offend someone else. I didn't want to put out a video that was controversial in nature because it could offend someone else. It could upset someone else. And that was the type of mindset that I ended up being trapped in for a while, because I was censoring myself. I didn't want to share information that I believed in, because I knew people online and followers would comment such horrible things about me that it was going to bring me down. And sure enough, there were a handful of videos that I had posted way back in the day. I put one out and I was just nervous and scared to death. So terrified to post the video. But I posted it and I was terrified. I kept looking at the comments, and of course it wasn't as bad as I was thinking it was, but there were certainly, we as human beings, for whatever reason, we are so inclined to look at the negative things more. We give more weight to the negative things than we do the positive things. Sometimes it takes one negative comment to wipe out 10 positive ones, if not more. You could have 10 positive comments and you would just completely disregard those in favor of that one negative one, saying something about your appearance, something about your personalities, even criticizing you to an even deeper level. And we focus on those things. We focus on those things, and they bring a lot of negativity to our life, to the point where, for me, I would censor part of myself, and it made things much worse because I was not able to express who I truly was. So then, let's fast forward then. Let us fast forward a bit to where I got more comfortable expressing what my viewpoints were, and I didn't care anymore what other people said online. Well, this was also quite I guess you could view it as a bit of a disastrous thing as well, because, I expressed who I truly was, expressed my viewpoints on things, and the followers that YouTube had given me, the type of content that I was making that YouTube was promoting to certain people, it didn't resonate with those types of people. If anything, those people thought the opposite. Like, even videos that I've posted relatively recently, there would be a handful of people who don't agree with those things, and they will all kind of come in unison and just attack the message that I'm portraying. And there's like literally no one who will actually say that the information I'm giving is correct or right. It's like all people who are just attacking. And I'm just like, how has YouTube promoted this sort of message to people who I'm not in alignment with? I just don't understand that. Because over the years, there have been plenty of people who we do have common interests. We do have similar ground and everything. But then there are probably the majority of people, it seems, or at least it seems like it, at least. I don't know. It seems as though they follow and have subscribed and are watching, but it's like they don't agree with the message. It's like, well, YouTube obviously promoted these videos to these people, so why is it promoting it to the wrong people? So that can make me feel as though, well, do I need to censor what I'm saying? Because it's going to offend all these people and no one's going to watch anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, it's very, very obvious how YouTube has done a lot of things, you know, shall we say. But, you know, that does not necessarily stop me from expressing what my viewpoints are. You know, that is why I do these live streams. That is why I make the videos. Not as frequently as I was. I do the website articles every other week instead of a video. Because I realize that, you know, it's more important to focus my time on things that are, you know, a bit more important. But I still like these live streams, even if it's, you know, we often don't really get that many people anymore. Everything is just, it's starting to gravitate towards that very, very low mark. And it's like, you know, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like doing. And that's what you have to do. When you're trying to find your true potential and what makes you happy, that's what it's about. It's about what makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled. Sure, I felt very fulfilled with my life when I was sharing personal stories about my personal journey and health and things that I overcame and how it was inspirational to other people. That was such an amazing feeling, and how I was able to help other people deal with their problems. However, you know, I would still love that, but it's almost like I'm not capable of that sort of thing anymore. It's like I put the information out there, but it doesn't really reach the people anymore. It doesn't really help the people anymore. Sometimes it does. I know that. And I'm sure that there are people who don't necessarily express it, who do find some help. But it's like that's what my message has been always from the beginning. Even when, like, on my other channels that I do, I do the gaming stuff and everything, that's where I put out a lot of comedy. Even though I'm playing a game that could be very simplistic in nature. Almost have 1,000 subscribers on that channel, which I'm very thankful for. It's like I'm almost there. I'm almost there. But just even that's a way for me to express my comedy side, my comedic side, bring that out. And that helps people as well, because it's like if someone has a bad day, they could be watching that and be like, what did this person just say? They just said the most outrageous, ridiculous thing, and I am just laughing my head off, and all that other negativity I was thinking about is now gone. You know what I mean? So that is basically what I like to do. I like to bring other people up. It's just, I feel as though there's so much weight trying to bring me down that I have to just push through that no matter how tough it is. You know, it's like I want to be able to reach those people who I can help, but that's the barrier, being able to reach those people now. It's like, who are these people? How can I reach them? It's like, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. It's very challenging now. So anyway, let me read over some of your comments, and then we shall get into our second topic in just a moment here. But let me see what you have to say. You can't let people online get to you. Why? Because they know nothing about you, not a single thing. Let them talk. You're doing something right for them to attack you like that. You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that was a lesson that I learned through much hardship, making content online and realizing people were saying such horrible, ridiculous things. Like, I've had people comment death threats to me. I've had people basically wish death upon my family. And it is just the most disgusting, vile thing imaginable. Now, mind you, that's actually not the stuff that got to me before. It's like, that really didn't impact me as much as other people trying to criticize my personality to a deeper degree. It's like people who would say very early on when I was making videos, like, you have no friends, you never get out of the house, you live with your grandmother, you're going to be lonely for the rest of your life. Because these were all thoughts kind of going through my mind here, like, oh my gosh. It's like, it's almost as if they were like reading my mind. It's like, yeah, you know what? I really don't have any friends. You're absolutely right. It's like I have a hard time making friends. I'm not able. It's very challenging and difficult for me. Even now, it's very very hard to be honest with you. It really is. So there's that, and then there's also the, oh, you're going to be lonely. You're not going to have anyone. Again, that all kind of plays into that. So it's like people who were criticizing me deep down, who were criticizing my type of personality, and it was just like, huh, okay. And I let that get to me. But the thing is, these people don't know what I do in my daily life. They don't know what my thoughts are. They don't know the types of things that I do and things that I enjoy, because for the most part, I don't share as much now. You know, it's like I don't post as much personal stuff because a lot of that personal stuff has already been revealed. I've already shared that sort of stuff. Now, mind you, I still make personal stuff. I talk about my opinions on things. I talk about a variety of different things and such. But you know, it is a challenge. It is a challenge. So, yeah, you don't the people online for the most part, even the people who are the closest. Even the people that I know personally, even family and friends in my personal life, they still don't really know me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like they know some of my interests and what I do and everything, but it's like they don't truly know me, it seems. If that makes sense. It's like I'm just someone who, I don't know, I've just never really shared all of myself, if that makes sense. It's like, I don't know if it's because I haven't necessarily trusted someone enough to really share my entire self with that person or what, but I find that very interesting. And I think that there's some people like that are just they're very reserved, and they have a lot of ideas and thoughts on things that they don't really share with 99.9% of people. But that 0.1% who may be able to get closer with that person knows more. But even they may not know everything, you know? So it's like, I don't know. It's like even the people I've trusted the most, I've not ever shared everything with. So it's like they don't fully know me. They don't fully know my true, full story in life. They really don't. It's fascinating, isn't it? It really is. It really is fascinating. Anyway. Let me continue on with your comments here. How did you stop caring? That's the hardest part for me. Understandable. You're absolutely right. It is. It is. How did I stop caring? Well, I don't... Here's the thing. As human beings, we do care to some degree. No matter how much thick skin you have or whatever else, you will, to some degree, still, you know, take offense to certain people's words or actions or whatever else against you. However, if you are very, very sensitive to the point where you censor yourself, you're not able to express what your viewpoints are, or other people are attacking you and you kind of withdraw and all that sort of stuff, what has really helped me, surprisingly, is to put myself right out in the open like that. So for me, it was very scary for me to actually, you know, express who I was, take criticism, and making videos online. What does that open me up to? All sorts of criticism. So I've heard all sorts of things over the years to the point where I just no longer take offense to it because I have built up, I guess, a thick skin to not let those things affect me. You know, it's just, I expose myself to all of the nasty, heinous stuff that people would say. And I basically just let it just slide right off. It took some time. It didn't happen overnight. It took some years to be able to build that up. But it's about not taking what those people say personally. Because here's what I've realized. People who are criticizing me online, these are people who are probably a projection of what they're criticizing me of. So they may say, you know, something, oh, you, like, people will criticize how I look, how I choose to live my life. Sometimes even people criticize the way that I speak. You know, it's like you don't speak right or something. I don't know exactly what they said. I remember people early on. This was always so funny. They would always say that I have an accent, and no one in my personal life ever said that to me. So I don't know. Do I have an accent? I don't know. I don't know if I sound the same as I did when I first started making videos. I think my voice has changed a little bit, but I don't know. I have no idea. But regardless, all those sorts of things. Here's what I have to remember: these people, they usually have anonymous profiles. They're not showing who they truly are. I've gotten comments. This is actually quite funny. Actually, there have been videos that I've posted that have been comedic in nature, sarcastic videos, and people take it very seriously, despite the fact that I'm talking like this. Okay, look, do you think anyone's going to take anyone seriously when they're talking like this? I mean, it's like, come on now, guys, listen. Like, this is like the fakest voice you can possibly ever put on. This is like Dumbo a voice, okay? This is like if your like brain cells are like 0, okay? Actually, 0. Yeah, 0. Okay. If it is that even a number like 0? Because I know it's like over 1 is like a number and everything, but it's like 0 though. It's like, okay, people are going to take that seriously when I'm talking like that, and then they comment something that I agree with, but they're criticizing that fake sarcastic persona, and I'm just laughing because it's like you don't realize that that was a joke, that was sarcastic, and then I reply in agreement with their comment, and they have no reply whatsoever because they, how could they? They literally, they're like, huh? Wait a second now. Hold up now. I just saw this video from this person who said one thing, and I commented the opposite. And then they comment back talking about the same thing that I be commenting on. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense at all. You know? so, so yeah, you know, it's just, I don't get it. It's just, people just, that's the interest, that is the beauty of the world after all. Everyone is different. So you have to just learn to accept those differences and stop criticizing people for having those differences of opinion. It's like, who cares? Who cares if someone looks ugly, or they have some sort of a disability that people are making fun of them about, or you know, they have a speech impediment, which is what I had for many years. Maybe that's why I sound the way that I did or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I have it anymore, or maybe I do. I don't know. Um, Sometimes it's certain hard for me to say certain things here and everything, um, but it's like if I'm going to let those people criticizing those ridiculous things, then it's like that's not fun, you know? It's just like I just have to just accept it as it is and just laugh at it. Just laugh at the things about myself that other people are criticizing. So that is how I've learned to deal with it. That's how you can learn to deal with it, because you got to laugh at yourself. You got to laugh at yourself. If you made a mistake and things are pretty bad, like you feel embarrassed, you did something you shouldn't have, you made a fool of yourself out in public or whatever else, you gotta just laugh at yourself. You know, everyone's laughing at you. You gotta be the one to laugh at yourself as well. Laugh at yourself, and then you're able to feel pretty good. Then you're able to feel pretty good. Ugh, that lemon. Anyway, let's say, follow your path and believe in it, and don't let other people stop you by doing so. You're absolutely right, DNA. DNA. What is that profile picture, DNA? It looks very interesting. Looks very interesting. Ah, interesting. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Fascinating. I'll say that. It's fascinating. Anyway, Roosters, are you ready to head to the next topic now, Roosters? I think that they are. Okay, so now we're moving into the controversial topic, which is about kids transitioning. So I really wish the people who were in favor of kids transitioning were here, because I know that there have been people who have commented who have been in favor of it. I don't know if anyone is right now, but I'm just going to state right off the bat, I am not in favor. I would say if you're under the age of 18, there should be absolutely no transitioning for you at all when it comes to a medical transition, primarily. Okay, if you're going to do a social transition, I don't know how I feel about that exactly. However, medically, when you're introducing puberty blockers or hormones or surgeries, that should be completely off limits until you're 18 at least, or whatever legal age it is in your state, in your country, because there's different legal requirements and whatever. I think the legal requirement thing is kind of dumb, personally, primarily because I think a lot of people should wait until they're in their 20s, because your brain doesn't really fully develop until you're like mid-20s, maybe even late 20s. I feel as though mine, wasn't more developed until later. I'm always still developing. I'm always still learning, okay? Every single day. If there's not a day that goes by that I haven't learned anything, then it's not a day that I have lived. Because I learn something every single day, okay? Doesn't matter what it is. It could be the most trivial minor thing, or it could be some of the most major monumental thing. But I learn something every single day. That's something very important that I always say everyone should do. Just learn something new. Learn a new word. Learn, a definition of a word, Learn something else. Start learning a new skill. Learn something you haven't learned before, even if it's just one little thing, whatever it is. Okay. Regardless. My main reason okay, so here is the interesting thing. I've had people comment before when I've talked about kids transitioning. They will bring up all of these laws throughout the entire United States that are being passed to stop trans people from transitioning. And I will ask them about these laws and whatever. They never provide any information, but I will say the overwhelming majority of those laws, of those bills that are being passed in these conservative states, these Republican-run states, are bills stopping minors from transitioning. That is, I'm not going to say that that's all of the bills, but that seems to be the overwhelming majority of them. Okay? So I would be in full favor of any sort of bill that stops a minor from transitioning medically and surgically. Okay? However, people try to extrapolate that and say they're stopping the kids, which means that they're going to be stopping the adults. Some people possibly yes, and those are the types of people that are certainly problematic, who are usually more conservative leaning or Republican, who may do that. But then you have the complete opposite side, and whenever those people bring up all these laws and everything, I should just say, yeah, but what about all of the laws trying to be passed that if parents deny the right for a child to transition, the government has the right to step in and intervene and take that child out of the home and basically allow them to transition. That is some messed up stuff, but these people will never touch that topic. They won't ever bring that up. They won't mention that. Why? Either they are not aware of it, or they are in full support of taking a child out of a home and medicating them, which I just find to be the most messed up thing. So those are the types of bills and laws that are being put in place by the complete opposite, the more liberal and Democrat party. So you have these two extremes, okay? So I've expressed before, if you're new here or you're not aware of what my political beliefs are, I am neither party, and I do not like either party. I am not a Democrat, and I do not like the Democrats at all. I am not a Republican, and I do not like the Republicans at all. Okay, so I am an independent person. I think for myself. I do not go down any sort of party line. While I would say that some of my beliefs are more conservative in nature, that doesn't make me a Republican. That does not make me a conservative. I am not labeled by any such thing because I think my viewpoints are my own and they are unique to me and they don't fit a particular party line. Okay, but you have those two extremes battling out one another, and I'm just like, this should be common sense. This should be common sense. If you look at other countries throughout the world who have banned the use of some of these chemicals and drugs for kids transitioning, some of the European countries have banned that because they didn't know what the evidence was in support of kids transitioning. They did not see enough evidence to support a healthy outcome for those kids transitioning. They didn't see social benefits and they didn't see medical benefits with, like mental health even. So if other countries are starting to realize that the foundation and the evidence is very shaky regarding this topic, well, why hasn't the United States, the proclaimed best country in the world, the best country in the world that, there's so many different things you can kind of criticize on. There's certainly a lot of positives and benefits, mind you, but we're one of the most unhealthy countries. It's like, if you're the best country, it's like you're just also the most unhealthy when it comes to the food supply and the medications people are on, the obesity. So there's just so many different problems that people have. So yeah, it really is. Anyway, I want to say hello to Choo Choo and Zumi. Choo Choo Nezumi. There you go. Almost seems like an agenda. It kind of does, doesn't it? Now, of course, I think people are going to have different viewpoints as to what that agenda is. That's entirely up to you to decide. I'm not here to say anything because I don't think YouTube would like certain viewpoints, maybe, but regardless, it's just one of those things that it's such a sad thing. It really is. It really is. Because let me kind of tell you where I'm coming from with this. And I've had friends who have been fine or said that they're okay with kids transitioning and everything. But here's the thing. So back before I even created my YouTube channel, back in like 2010 and 2011, I was looking online for other transsexual people who have transitioned. And this is when you would find actual people who were going through the transition, who were documenting every single day their transition. Day 1 of hormones, day 2, what am I experiencing, all this sort of stuff. But then there were, I want to say, I found at least 2 people who were kids. One of them was Jazz Jennings, that that's her name, right? I think so. That very popular one who became very popular after the fact, So it's like, she wasn't, I don't think she was making the videos documenting every single day or whatever. But I remember I had found those videos way back in the day. But there were other people that I watched who did the everyday thing, who were adults. But there were like a few minors. And I'm just kind of thinking, like, back then, from me not transitioning yet, I was thinking, oh, how nice it would have been if I had transitioned when I was their age. If I had gone through the procedure and actually been a female when I was younger, how much better life would have been. Well, I got some news for that old past self of mine. No. No. No, no, no. Okay? That is definitely a no. Primarily because if I had done that, there probably would have been more physical health complications today than there is now. Okay? If I had gone through that process when I was a minor, when I was a kid, there would be more physical health problems than there is today. So I am grateful that I had waited, because yes, I am dealing with some physical health problems as a result of, the hormones, all that sort of stuff. Now, mind you, I have found ways of dealing with that in such a way that I would say 90+% of the problems are gone. Okay, so I think that that's absolutely amazing. But how can you tell a minor? So can you imagine someone who's 11 years old? If it's, let's just say 12 even. I think girls usually go through puberty earlier than boys do. However, girls are going through puberty now like at 8 because of, we're not going to get into that because, we're talking about unhealthy foods and chemicals, all that sort of stuff. YouTube won't like that. YouTube won't like that. But they just talk about boys transitioning into women. Okay? So, we have young boys who are maybe like 11 or 12 or whatever, about to go through puberty a little bit. And they're going to be put on puberty blockers to stop their natural puberty. Thank you for the heart. Whoever did that, smash that heart. That's right, smash the heart. Let me take a sip. My throat. I want to say hello to Solvedje. I've been pronouncing these names wrong. Anyway. So, how can you explain to someone who's 12 years old or younger, we're going to put you on these puberty blockers, which have the possibility of you not going through puberty, possibly developing osteoporosis by the time you're like, in your teens, because your bones will not develop, no matter how much calcium that you take and whatever else. Your body will not get the proper nutrients it needs, so you will develop osteoporosis. You will not go through puberty. You will not have any sort of, your sexual organs and desires will never develop whatsoever. And then you get put on other, the cross-sex hormones, and then you don't have a sex drive, nothing develops, nothing happens, you go through surgery, there's major complications, because if you're aware of how they perform surgery for male to female individuals, you need substance down there, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? So if you don't have that, because it has not grown through puberty, then there's going to be complications. And a very good example of that, if you've seen Jazz, someone who went on puberty blockers, there's complications, there's problems. How can you tell a 12-year-old all that and say, you're never going to be able to have kids, ever, because you're blocking your puberty, you're never going to be able to develop your gonads. You're going to have to dilate for the rest of your life. Do you think an 11 and 12-year-old really is thinking about that? They're not thinking about they're thinking about in the moment right now. Because how? Because their brains have not developed to the point that they can rationalize what is being said to think more long term. That is actually a physical impairment that younger people have because their brains have not developed to that point yet. That's not saying that, oh, I think the kids can make their own choices. No, they cannot. They're literally physically incapable because their brains have not developed. That is a scientific fact. Your brain does not develop. Let me tell you this. So, if you're 30 years old or older right now, think back to how you were when you were like 10. I don't even remember when I was 10, but it's like I'm not thinking long term. Think about when you were 15 or 16, and maybe dealing with depression, whatever. You think that that is how you're going to be for the rest of your life. It's going to be awful. Nothing's ever going to get better. And then you're 20 years old. You're starting to become more of an adult. And you sometimes think that you're fully grown, you are an adult. Then you're 25 and you think, you're looking back at your 20-year-old self and go, oh my gosh, I was so immature at 20. And now you're 30, looking back at your 25-year-old self and going, oh my gosh, look how immature I was back then. You know what I mean? So it's like, to say that someone who is not even a teenager yet can make any sort of long-term decision along those lines is just preposterous. It really is. So that is my belief as to why kids cannot and should not transition. But that is my viewpoint. Everyone's going to have a different viewpoint. But I would say, present to me the scientific information that shows that there's a positive outcome from youth transitioning. The thing is, no one's going to find that information because there is no studies or information regarding that. And that's the major problem. If there were scientific studies that prove that a significant amount of people who transitioned when they were young had positive outcomes both physically and mentally for their mental health and physical well-being, then there would not be this discussion right now, because it would be acceptable that a kid transition because the science has shown that it'd be a benefit. Now, mind you, science can be very manipulated in certain ways. So let's just talk about if it was legit. However, there is no science like that. It does not show that information. If anything, it shows inconclusive results, which means put the brakes on and wait until we figure this out, if we figure this out. In addition, how can you tell that someone is even a transsexual individual? How can you tell that they even are struggling with gender dysphoria? You can't. There is no brain scan, there is no blood test, there's nothing along the lines. Like, if you have high cholesterol, how do you get that checked? You get a lab test that shows high cholesterol, and you may have side effects of that. However, if you have gender dysphoria, you can't test for mental things. You really can't. Is there a test for depression? There isn't like a blood test. You can't do that. You can't do a brain scan necessarily. I think there is some differences with the structure of brains with people who have like PTSD and depression, anxiety, and that sort of stuff. However, that doesn't necessarily definitively prove that someone has those mental problems. So when it comes to these trans kids, you can't prove it. So what makes people think that they are indeed truly legitimately going through what they claim to be if it's maybe not something else playing an impact? And that is something that really people need to be thinking about, and people aren't thinking about, and that's the major problem here. That really is. Okay, let me see what the comments are. Choo Nazume says, I just got it. I think I just got it. Hold on now. Hold on. I think I just got it. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So I'm pretty sure after I read your name again, Nezume is mouse, and Choo I think is the name, is the sound that the mice make. I think that's what that is, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct on that? I think I am. I got it. That person is mega fans of you, Rista. Anyway. Let's just say there are huge root problems that are never addressed, and instead we desperately cling onto other solutions in hopes of fixing ourselves. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Dave, great to have you here. How are you doing, Dave? Hopefully you're doing fantastic today. Okay. Oh man. Rista, you have fans in the audience. You got fans in the audience who discreetly discreetly. I didn't even catch on to that right away, but then I did. So. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Anyway. So, folks, for my final closing statement of this broadcast, I just want to say, you know, finding your true potential. And kids transitioning, you know, such a wide array of topics here. You know, I think it's just very important to always take things slowly in your life when you're talking about changing things about yourself. In addition to always just relying on your phone to answer the questions for you. Am I going to look online? Can you imagine a kid? Here we can kind of group both of them together, a kid as well. A kid kind of going on here. You know how parents give their kids the phone these days, and that is a problem. That is a problem. And the reason for that being, kids can look up anything online, then they stumble across, am I transgender, or am I transsexual, you know, whatever. And then, you know, kind of certain things that should not be found by kids are being looked at and discussed by kids, or they're finding out other things that shouldn't concern them. That is a major problem. That really is. So, it's a shame. It really is. But I think if we stop relying on the phone so much and instead put our time and energy into finding what we truly were meant to be, finding what really makes us happy in this life, and finding what makes us feel fulfilled in this life, then I think that we will start to tune out a lot of the external noise in our surrounding environment. All the people who are trying to bring us down or to try to persuade us in a different direction. You know? I think if we just stick true to what we believe in and we look inward for an answer, we will discover so much more than what the external world is going to give us when it comes to an answer. Okay? So that is my closing remarks. Any final words, boys? Choo choo. Oh man. Oh, that's right. That is right. That's definitely right. Anyway, folks, I am going to. Oh, all the lemon. I cannot end the stream until I finish my tea, folks. So any final comments or questions? I am all ears. I am all ears, folks. I'm all ears. We had a fun time. We had a fun time. Let's finish the tea and then we will conclude it. If you have anything to say, please say it now. Roosters, you got any final words besides that other one? Nope, not at all. Boys and ladies, I just want to say thank you for joining our broadcast for today. That's right. And be sure to check us out on FeetTube. Actually, wait, no, Only Feet, where we sell our feet pics. That's right. You guys are so silly. Look at them. Everyone is a Rooster fan around here, after all. We're all Rooster fans. Raise your hand if you're a Rooster fan, like I am. Look, there's 3 of them. Oh, 3 fans. Anyway, folks, it's almost time. One more sip, and then we're out of here. Oh, so sour at the end. And with that, folks, I am going to conclude it. So I'm going to see you all again in 2 weeks. I'll see you again on I guess October 20th will probably be the next one. So I look forward to seeing you all then. So you all take care, have a great one, and see you all again soon. So take care. Bye bye now.